Welcome to PHP blog website lessons. Today we are going to work on queries. In the last lesson we were successful in making connection to database, and thus we are able to pull information from database already. So what I am gonna do now, I'm in our DB folder, I'm gonna add another file which is gonna be called connect.php. And what this connect file is going to do, it's going to contain the queries which we are going to make to database. For this, let's open our PHP opening tags and then first require once the file that we need, which is in the same directory. So I can just write here, write database.php. Close it. Let's check the file. It's gonna be in app includes db connect, so it's app inc db connect.php, and we are getting error. Let's see what's wrong. Maybe a misspelled word. Yeah, database.php. Let's save this and reload. And everything is right in its places. So first of all, let's see how the query is being done. We need to create a variable which is called SQL. You can call it as ever you want, and it's gonna have the following: select star, which means everything from users. And let's remember that users is the table which we have created together. It's right in here. You can see it's our users table. So we are taking everything which is in users. After saving this, we need to query. This is just the text of the query, let's not forget. And I'm gonna store it into a query variable. I'm gonna refer to a global variable called PDO and call a method called prepare. And we need to prepare the following: the query with the following text, which is the SQL. Right after preparation is done, we need to execute it. It's gonna be called again query in the same way, but if we call a method which is called execute, and our method is executed, there's still just one open question. What is gonna happen when we get an error? We talked in the last lesson together what we do when error happens. We don't want actually to sometimes to show the real error, which can tell a lot about the file system of our website, and it's gonna be sometimes a winning lot or a ticket for hackers. That's why we need to handle the errors, and that is how it's being done. Let's make a variable and call it error db data, and it's gonna work the following way. We are gonna make query right after execution, which is gonna check if we have errors or no. And for this, we are gonna call error info, and that's it. So we have all the errors we need in here. And what we are gonna do now is just using if statement, which is gonna tell, hey, if we have error, just don't continue execution of any line of code, which you can see in here. For this is what we are gonna do. We are gonna tell if our ERR data is not strictly equal to a PDO function, or which is called error none. This is called in the following way. We write PDO, all uppercase, 2 dots on the same line, which is the visibility operator, and we are gonna call here EER none. So what we are telling here, if it's not equal, so if our error data is equal to something where there are no errors, don't continue. But let's do one more thing. Actually, ER data is an array of objects. Basically, if you compare an array of objects to ER none, it's it's not gonna be equal, and this is what we are doing, and it's gonna fall into if criteria, and our code execution will stop. So we need to compare one of the objects. In our case, let's use it 0. And if it's all correct, let's just echo the code in here. And it's gonna be the second object in the array. And let's just exit, which basically means if you get an error, echo this and exit from the code. So don't do anything. Right after it's all done, this query variable already holds whatever we got from database. So let's just copy this and store it into a variable which I'm gonna call data in our case. In our query, I'm gonna tell fetch it. And let's not forget the semicolon, as I'm sometimes doing, and I'm gonna do printer our data variable. And let's see what happens on our website. Let's go in here. And that's it. We got all the information. I have already one information. You can create one too. This is how you are going to do it. You are gonna tap insert. Right after insert done, you don't need to do anything into ID, because let's remember it works on auto incrementation, so it's gonna hold value automatically. For the username, our user is gonna be cat, and the email is gonna be cat@cat.com. And the password, let's put it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The creation, this time step is the time when it's created, so no need to hold the value. It's gonna done automatically again. Just about admin, let's put it 0, which is false. It's not admin, and hit go. And we got second user, which is the cat. And now opening it and reloading one more time, this is what we see. We still get just one element. And to make it more visible, let's wrap it into pre-tags. These are HTML tags which are used to make the printing much more humanized, with more pleasure for human eyes. So I'm gonna echo pre-tag in here. For me, it's automatically doing the closing tag. I'm gonna copy this line and put it right after printer. On the first line, on 18, I'm gonna remove the closing one, and on the other, the opening one. Let's save it and see how it looks like now. It is an array with with its element. And as you can notice in here, one more interesting fact. Let me draw it for you. Let's do it with green and do it a bit bigger. So you can see that we can refer to them in two ways. It's associative array, so basically we can call it by the name. So it's basically gonna be like this. Let's hold this data, and I can call this with the name of associative array, which is email, for example, in this case. So just to call it, I can do the following, or let's wrap it as a string, or there is another way. So we have both options, so which makes kind of better for us and easier to do our job. What we are doing here, we can also, our ID is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth. It's fourth element. So we are gonna call it the same way too. So we have both options. Nice and easy. But to make printing much more easier for us in the future, I'm gonna put it in the function so as I can call it for any other variable as well any other queries which we are gonna make in the future. So what I'm gonna write here, I'm gonna call it print query. This is the name of the function which is gonna have one parameter which is called ARR, which means an array of objects. And I'm gonna use this same structure. Let's Control X this part. Let's paste it in there, and instead of data it's gonna get what's in the parameter. And let's reload the page. So as you can see that it's different. I'm gonna clean what I have drawn for you, and let's use the function. Copy this line right after data when the variable is initialized and paste it. After it's done, let's see what happens. Yeah, we get it. Another interesting fact that we are going to talk about together is that you see we have two users, but we got just one because fetch one method of PDO just fetches one single element. But if we do here fetch all, it's gonna become a multi-dimensional array, which is basically an array inside an array. So if you have depth of array inside the array, it's called multi-dimensional. So it becomes multi-dimensional. So if we add another user into our database, which we are gonna do it the same way, which is called insert, it's gonna be dog. We have a cat, let's have a dog too. I put it into an email. I use dog as an username. The email will be dog@dog.com. And the password is gonna be 456123. And it's not gonna be admin2. We can't let animals to be admins of our website. It's done. You can see we have our third element. After reloading the connection, we can see we got it too. So what we did is successful. We are able to get what we want from database. Now let's just make sure that we can organize our code in a better way. And we can do it with the following steps. Let's open our code editor and create here a function. And that function is gonna be called select all. We are gonna have some functions, so let's make sure that the names of them are understandable for us. And let's give it a parameter called table. And here is what's gonna be inside the function. Let's copy all this, whatever you see in here, and just paste it inside the function. And instead of users, we are gonna get here whatever we put in the table. So inside the function, we write the statement, we make the query using the statement, we prepare and execute it, we get the errors, and in the end, we can just echo what we get. For function, we need to return what we need. We did not need to return it for the function print query because basically we already print whatever we want. We don't need to get any information from that. And we can get data pretty simply. This is how it's gonna be. We are going to copy the name. Sorry, we need to use camel casing. So it just first letter needs to be camel case, uppercase. Let's copy select all. Put it inside print query function. And right after that, it's gonna be function inside the function and put as a parameter to select all users. And see how it works. Reloading the page. And we get an error on 14th line and let's see what's the reason. Yeah, we need to change to SQL to table this SQL variable too. So we, I believe it's correct. Okay, so the reason we don't get it, there is global variables, but in order to make this PDO global variable working inside the function, we first need to declare it, calling it global $PDO, whatever we have. And let's now check out what's going on. And we get it. We have successfully completed what we needed to do today. We were successfully able to get database, to make functions, and we made our first database function, query function, better to tell, which is able to select everything from the table name that we are giving it to. So congratulations. See you in the next lesson where we will continue working on functions and we are gonna do so much more. And of course, let's not forget that if there are questions, you are open to give them in the comments.